เมื่อมองดูนกพกพินบินลับไปเมื่อมองสายชนถึงไหลริน
Now you've manifested that latent potential into an infinite possibility of healing encapsulated in the flesh, in the tissue, on one spot, one geometry, one geography, right here, right now, with this person. Seek refuge. It's visualization. How long does it take to do that? How long does it take to acknowledge the space? See that as sacred space. See her as sacred space. See me as sacred space coming into sacred space. Just to think the thought. How long does it take? Less than that. Lobsang Tenzin Negi told me, how long does it take, Anthony? I go, it's going to take me forever. I'm never going to get it. He goes, no. Here's how long it takes. Less than that. Because all that's required is that you think the thought. The problem with unconscious beings is they don't take the time to think the thought. It's too troublesome. It's too big. It takes too long. They don't take the time to think the thought. And so because they don't take the time to think the thought, they don't have the consequence of the thought. And the change of being is an elevation of spirit, as a connection with the infinite. Seek refuge. Pay respect. I call this universal copyright. By picturing all those that have gone before me. How many healing teachers in my tradition have gone before me? I'm in the 37th generation of Putai Sawan, but who taught the first? Who taught Chivaka? We know who his teacher was, Atreya. Atreya, when he wrote the Charaka Samhita, in the preamble to the Charaka Samhita, he says, I am the last surviving practitioner of an ancient healing tradition. And he wrote that 5,000 years ago. He said the reason why he wrote it down was so it wouldn't be lost to time, that it wouldn't be lost for time memorial, so that people in future generations would know that there were generations in the past who understood life and understood how to be a human being in the world, understood it. And so he had to write it down before he died. Now, that's what he says about himself in the preamble. So what we say is this: as long as there's been people in the world, however long that is, however far back that goes, Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, Australopithecus, however far, however long, however far back that goes, there was somebody in that community that was a healer. There was somebody in that community. It is a function of human society and all human societies in ancient antiquity, archaeologically, anthropologically, anthropomorphically, however you want to talk about it, that there's a sacred space and a sacred designation of sacred space in every place inhabited by humans as far as we can go back and determine that humans were there. And there's a reason for that. Because thinking a certain way changes your DNA. You want to change your DNA? No, don't get a vaccine. Don't get stem cell therapy. You want to change your DNA? Remember, DNA is frequency, respondent. It transmits and receives frequency. Photonic energy, light, we know that. DNA responds to light. Electrical frequencies, we know that. DNA responds to magnetic frequencies. DNA responds to pH. We know many things that changes the nature of DNA. And one of the things that changes the nature of DNA is thoughts and attitudes. Because they change your fundamental chemistry as a human being. So if you want to have enlightened DNA, start thinking new thoughts. Number 3, clean house. Clean house is when I'm with my client and I'm doing the southern style and I have my hand on the abdomen and I have my hip right up against them, because you know you can hear through your bones. That's called bone conduction. So this hip connection here, the largest bony structure in the body is the pelvis. And the pelvis, by the way, visualize this, is a drum. Okay, what is a drum? I have drums over there. You can look at a drum. You can see that a drum is a hard shell that creates a reservoir, which is called a resonant cavity. okay? And then over the resonant cavity is animal hide, tendon, connective tissue stretched over it. Trivia, what is a pelvis? A pelvis is a drum. The most important function of the pelvis is to act as an intermediary, amplifier, and transceiver of energy that comes from the lower part of the body, comes from the upper part of the body. For example, the pelvis picks up the amplified sonic vibration of the heart. And when those pressure waves, sonic booms, and they are sonic booms, subaudible sonic booms that come from the heart hit the pelvis, guess what happens? The tympanic membrane of the psoas diaphragmatic fascia and connective tissue stretched over the hollow bones of the pelvis creates a resonant cavity. It amplifies that energy and sends it faster and farther than the heart itself can send, and it sends it to the bottom of the feet and the top of the head and the ends of the arms, and according to Ayurveda, 50 feet past the outer shell of the body in every direction. So I take my tympanic amplifier and I bump it up against my client's tympanic amplifier. Why? Because I can hear her better. It's not imagination. It's called bone conduction. It's actually, look it up. Don't take Dr. J's word. I'm wacky, man. I just make up stuff as I go. Don't take my word for anything. Okay? So, my hand's on her stomach, and I did the first thing. I acknowledged that I placed my hand thoughtfully and deliberately. The first contact with the client is always thoughtful and deliberate. No other way, unless it's an emergency, which I've had to do that too, okay? By way of asking permission, I come into the space in a relaxed way. I position myself in a relaxed way. I don't bump, bang, kick, knock, elbow, cajole my client. You know, I don't, oh, sorry, I don't do anything I have to apologize for. I stop over here and wait till I have my balance, and then I come over here on purpose so that as I come into your space, the last thing I want to do is apologize for being here, or apologize for bumping you, or apologize for poking you, stepping on your pigtails. I don't know, whatever it is. I don't want to be apologizing for squat. I'm here with intention, and I'm asking permission. And I put my hand and I wait. And while I'm waiting, I acknowledge the space. While I'm waiting, I do my Waikru. If I'm in the north, I might say the mantra, Om Namo Shivago Silasa Aham Kaluniko Sapasatanang. If I'm in the south, I do it in my head. I don't say it out loud. For whatever reason, southern people don't like to do their mantras out loud. But the northern people just shout that stuff. They're like Pentecostals. They want to say their mantras and everybody joins in, and the client will do the mantra. The clients know your mantras. Okay? So they'll do them together. So I do my mantra. I pay respect to my lineage. I'm not here under the authority of Anthony. I am here under authority of my lineage. I am part of the hand of God reaching out to all humanity since time immemorial. I'm a finger on the hand of God, and that's why I have a right to be here. Not because I'm special, not because I'm a doctor, not because I'm a therapist, but because I am the embodiment of Spirit trying to give humanity a squeeze. And Spirit doesn't have hands, but I do. God doesn't have hands, but I do. Marriage made in heaven. No pun intended. And so while I'm doing this little acknowledgement, which how long does it take? It takes a long time to talk about, especially if you're Dr. James. But in reality, to do it, it's like snapping the fingers. You just think the thought. Visualize the lineage. Think the thought. The client is sacred. This is sacred space. I am doing a sacred activity. Human beings have been lining up and creating this geometry for as long as human beings have existed. It's part of what it means to be a human being, is to be able to assume the role of the giver and the receiver. And yoga has always been facilitated. Anyone who says that they do unfacilitated yoga, like Hatha yoga is not facilitated, well, they don't know it very well, and they don't know it very much, because actually you can't teach or do or practice or perfect Hatha yoga without somebody at some point pushing and prodding and pulling and poking and talking to you and giving you encouragement and giving you instructions and so on. They are intervening, they are interfering with you. And that's part of the process, because it's not possible to enlighten yourself by yourself. Now, that's my opinion based on the whole history of all humanity. Somebody right now might say, no, I can be enlightened if I wanna. I'm like, well, why aren't you enlightened now? If you could be, on your own, by yourself. It's a rhetorical question. I already know the answer. And besides, if I was enlightened, I wouldn't tell you. In fact, I would act like a total idiot just to throw you off. Because the last thing I want, if I'm enlightened and people knew it, there'd be people following me around, and it would interfere with my game time. Because I'm a gamer. Yeah, they're enlightened gamers. Sorry. Welcome to the 21st century. Buddha plays video games. All right, so then look, now we go clean house. Clean house is before I do anything. Before I do anything else. Again, this could be done in 1 minute. All of this. I'm so sorry. Really so sorry for the long discussion. I want you to understand. Clean house means I ask myself a question before I do anything else. I ask myself a question. The question is there anything that keeps me from being able to be with this person in the right way now? I just asked a question. Maybe it's no. Answer comes back, nah. Life is good. It's all good. But I never touch another person or give them a correction or give them a treatment that I don't ask myself that question before I make contact with them. Is there anything that keeps me from being able to be with you in the right way now? Because every once in a while you ask that question and the answer is not no. I'll give you a real life example. I don't like to be too hypothetical. Years ago, I was a bad person and I got divorced. It's my fault completely. Okay? So I was a bad person and I treated my ex-wife badly and I got the karma for it and I ate the karma pie and I was in a bad place, but it wasn't clean, and we went through a period of a breakup which is called the trying to kill each other for a while phase. You know that phase in breakups where you try to kill the person you love more than anybody else in the whole world and that you love to death, and then there's a point where you're really trying to kill them. And so we were in that phase. You know, it's like the 4 stages of divorce and separation. We were in that. I don't know what number that is. We were in, So we were in that stage, right? And my soon-to-be ex was having a terrible migraine. I already told you about Diamond Clinic, that actually Dr. Diamond started sending me. I had clients for years. That's a specialty of mine, is migraine headaches and how to solve them. And most of the time, how are you today, by the way?
Perfect. Woke up and I was totally fine.
Perfect. Woke up, I'm perfectly fine. See, I can live with that. So, who's the best therapist for headaches that my ex knows? How bad does your head have to hurt that you're going to go ask for help from the person you've been trying to kill for the last month? Destroy, annihilate, burn to the ground. How hard does your head have to hurt? And she called me out on it. Anthony, just wait, listen. I have a headache. I've got one of those headaches. And you have to help me. Not, will you help me? She told me, you have to help me. And I went inside, damn it. Technical. Damn it. If she just asked me for anything else, I could have said no. But she asked me for help for something that I knew full well, and she knew full well that I could help her with, that was really, really critical for her, right? Her headaches could last a month. She could be in a cold, dark place for a month before it would lift like a fog, right? And so she came, and so we didn't talk. Okay, fine, come. She came over, she got on the mat, I got on the mat, I started doing my puja. I got to the part where I asked myself, is there anything that keeps me from being able to be with this person now, in the right way now? And the answer was, hell no, I hate this, but I want to hurt her. Right now would be a great time to strangle her. She's helpless, she's got a migraine, she can't even fight back. That's how you know I'm not the Buddha. It's okay, you can be on the transition. You can be on the path. You don't have to always be there, right? So I asked myself the question was no, and the question was because we weren't communicating. What was the issue? Why were we trying to hurt each other? Because we stopped talking, and we stopped communicating, and we stopped sharing our feelings, and we stopped doing all those things that people who are functional in a relationship do. And I could not go one step further in the treatment at that point. I was locked out, I was shut down, and she looked at me and she goes, oh no. Because she knew that I had been there an awful long time. And she knew puja, because she knew what puja was, and she was like, no, don't do it. Just forget that, don't do it, don't be real. Don't be generous. Don't be genuine. Don't do puja the way you always do it. Just get to it and help me with my headache. She's like, Anthony, don't, stop, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm like, Kat, I can't. I'm so sorry. So I want to help you, not really, but I have an issue for real. And if you want me to help you, I'm going to have to talk to you, and you're going to have to talk to me until we get to a place where we can agree to be okay with each other, contingent on circumstance, whatever, sign a waiver, whatever. We got to get to the other side of this, to the humble place. We go our separate ways, but we cannot fight, and we cannot hate, and I can't be devoted to destroying you and help you at the same time. And she was like, damn it. Both of us were resistant, but because we're educated and disciplined. See, education and discipline is good for when you need it, not when you don't. I practice for when I need it, not for when I don't. And so guess what? I backed off a little bit. She sat up with her headache. And we had the first conversation in months, heart to heart, and we worked out some stuff, not everything, some things, and then we made an agreement to continue the conversation later at a different place under different circumstances where she was not dependent. Because see, I had a problem with that too. I said, see, you're only agreeing with me because you know if you agree with me and I'm okay with that, then I'll help you. And see, again, how do I know that? Education, discipline, experience, right? And so we went through it, and we took an hour easily. And then we got to the other side of it, we made an agreement, and we shook on it. Literally, we shook hands on it. Okay, I agree. I'm gonna try, and we're gonna, and next Friday, 2 o'clock, we're gonna have a meeting at the restaurant, our favorite restaurant, you know. And so, and then I go to the next step, which is generate the bodhicitta. And generate the bodhicitta is to craft a perfect thought in the moment on purpose. Craft a perfect thought in the moment on purpose. And so if you don't know a perfect thought, I can give you one to practice with. If you don't have a perfect thought, maybe you've never had a perfect thought. I don't know. Sit up. No. Maybe you don't have your own perfect thought. Maybe if I told you right now, count 1 to 3, think a perfect thought. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. Think a perfect thought. And nothing comes to mind. Or maybe something frivolous comes to mind. And maybe I'm being judgmental to say it's not perfect. But it is required, because the second you create a perfect thought on purpose, see, this point is on intention, not just according to your nature, you're a good person, you think good thoughts about people and all that, does not count. The only thing that counts is if you do it on purpose. See, that's the whole point. That's the conscience and consciousness. Get it? Have somebody hand me your level 1 book. Quick. Okay. In the back of the level 1 book, before the pictures in the back of the book, on page 31, you can share with me, Noi. I'm going to read this to you, if I can find my glasses. They're over here. Okay. There is listed on page 31 the Meta Sutra. The title of the page says Generating the Bodhichitta. And then there's another title under that. This is Meta Sutra. Meta is unconditional love. Undefiled, unbounded, unlimited, unconditional love. Sutra is book. But sutra can also be teaching. So sutra can also be model. Okay, so again, it's one of those words that can be translated. But metta is always translated as love. Okay? All right, let me read this to you, please. So this is, the bodhicitta literally means, chitta is mind, okay, or perfect. And bodhi is mind. Okay? So it's the idea of having a perfect thought. The bodhicitta is an example of the most perfect thinking a person can do. It is a perfect petition for the well-being of all sentient beings. As a mantra, it powerfully manifests the loving and compassionate energies of all the saints and sages, and as such is suitable for inclusion in your puja. Okay? One of the reasons I was told that our school has lasted 1,000 years is because we practice this mantra. That's what I was told by the old people. So let me read it. And while I'm reading it, you just see the words in your head. Just see the words in your head. You can follow along. This is what should be accomplished by the one who is wise, who seeks the good and has obtained peace. Let one be strenuous, upright, and sincere, without pride, easily contented and joyous. Let one not be submerged by the things of the world. Let one not take upon oneself the burden of riches. Let one's senses be controlled. Let one be wise, but not puffed up. Let one not desire great possession, even for one's family. Let one do nothing that is mean, or that the wise would reprove. May all beings be happy. And actually, when I do this, I substitute my client's name for instead of being. So I will go, may Noi be happy. May all Nois in all incarnations be happy. May all those Nois, may they be joyous and live in safety. May my client, whether she is weak or strong, whether she is in high or middle or low realm of existence, small or great, visible or invisible, near or far, born or to be born, may all beings be happy. Let no one deceive another, nor despise any being in any state. Let none by anger or hatred wish harm to another. Even as a mother, at the risk of her life, watches over and protects her only child, so, with a boundless mind, should one cherish all living things in the world, suffusing love over all the entire world, above, below, and all around without limit. So let one cultivate an infinite good will toward the whole world. standing or walking, sitting or lying down, during all one's waking hours, let one cherish the thought that this way of living is the best in the world. Abandoning vain discussion, having a clear vision, freed from sense appetites, one who is made perfect will never again know rebirth in the cycle of the creation of suffering for ourselves or for others. So, in the million pages of Buddhist literature that we know of, this sutra is considered the definitive definition of the practical expression of love as the most perfect way that a human being can think. And that for thousands and thousands of years, our teachers have taught that if we could just get a person to think like this for 1 minute, that their whole course of their life would change. And some teachers, like Lobsang Tenzin Negi, once said that if you read this mantra one time, or if you hear it one time, that you will have a higher birth and reincarnation in the next life because of that, if for nothing else. That's what he said. He said and basically, what is the next life? How about the next life starts on your lunch break, which I know you're keen on. How about your next life is afternoon class? How about your next life is tonight? How about your next life is tomorrow? How about your next life is next week? How about your next life is next month? How about your next life is next year? How about that you reincarnate, that you incarnate frequently? Karmic incarnation is not something you have to die to reap the benefits of. And then according to the laws of independent origination and causal creation of karma, which drives you to be tied to the wheel of incarnation, reincarnation, you are ultimately and always in charge of your karma and crafting and creating karma in real time, right now, this minute. So if you have suffered from karma and you have suffered from past harmful thoughts, actions, and or deeds, and you are now living a life which is contained, or which is stressed, or which is corrupted a little bit, or which is distorted a little bit, and that includes the life inside your body because of your past lives, because of your past harmful thoughts, actions, and deeds. How do you solve that equation? Do you have to wait till you die and you reincarnate in some possible future life? And I want to tell you that I'm a reincarnation anarchist. Okay? And the reason why I'm a reincarnation anarchist, and I'm going to teach you this, you take it, you don't take it, that's up to you. There's no future life. There's no heaven after this life. There's no future life. There's no door number 3 that you're going to choose in the afterlife that's going to be better than this one, which you chose to be in this life. In fact, this is it. This is the only life you have. It's the only life you ever had. It's the only life you're ever going to have. And if you don't work it out, and if you don't get to the other side of it right now, you are doomed to be here and to repeat it as often as necessary until you do. So you might as well wake up, smell the coffee, get with the program, get on to it, start creating karma on purpose. Karma that will generate the life that you want to be part of. I always say not live. I say the life I want to be part of, the world that I want to be in, the life, the family that I want to be part of, the community that I want to be part of, the job that I want to be part of, the income that I want to be part of, the sincere satisfaction of a life lived worth living. That I was part of crafting and creating it. It wasn't something I stumbled in. It wasn't an accident. I'm not a mindless idiot enjoying the benefits of others' work. There's a point of majority, of age and maturity of consciousness where every person has to take responsible for their own karma. This is the secret teaching of all ages, of all the monks and sages, is that there is a point to where every person has to wake up, smell the coffee, and take response. They learn that they are driving their vehicle of incarnation. Nobody else has control of any aspect of it. And you can't take that away from me, even if you take my breath away from me. And this is how a monk sat in a square and literally one guy ended the Vietnam War. When he went into a square in downtown Saigon in 1969, and his brother walked over to him and handed him a 5-gallon can of gasoline, which he then poured over the top of his head, and then his brother walked over and handed him a Zippo lighter, which he then lit and set himself on fire, and while he was burning, he did this mantra until he was charcoal. And it was filmed, and it was broadcast, and it was on every television set and every news in the whole world. And it was in the newspaper, every newspaper in the whole world on the next day, with other subtitles like "The madness has to stop." Stop the madness. Because what he said, by the way, the temple that he was in is the same temple that generated Thich Nhat Hanh. Have you guys heard of Thich Nhat Hanh? Mindfulness, meditation teacher. But guess what? This was his uncle. This was his elder brother in the same temple. It was his model, Thich Nhat Hanh's role model. Ever since that day, Thich Nhat Hanh has been trying to teach people how to be the solution that monk tried to model with his own intentional passing. He was saying, life is not valuable enough to take me away from myself. There is nothing of value in this world that's valuable enough for me not to be myself and own up to my own convictions, even if it sets my hair on fire. And I can show you. I can prove it. And he didn't cry. And I've watched that video 100 times. He was in samadhi. He was calm. He was collected. He never tensed. He never flexed. He didn't cry. He didn't moan. He didn't scream. He was doing, as long as he had air moving through his voice, he was doing this, but in Pali, not in English. He did the Meta Sutra because where he was coming from and where he was going to was love. So you got to own that. And that's puja. So we own that space, we claim it, we think the thought, and we don't do anything until we do. And if I can do it, if I can clean house, and I'm good to go, and guess what? If I can't, then I got to take whatever time or notion that I got to take in order to get right, in order to be able to work on you. And if I'm not right, I'm not going to work on you. And a lot of misdeeds and malpractice in medicine is because the docs are messed up while they're doing the medicine. So they hurt people, and they miss things, and they make bad decisions. Not because they're bad people. I don't believe that they do it on purpose mostly. I don't. But they're not right, so they can't do right. Now, we do this, step number 5, or 4, petition, which means I, in this, was asking for a blessing and my perfect thought, generating the bodhicitta. Remember, may all beings be happy, may they be joyous. Notice I didn't say, may you be free of headaches, may you be free of back pain, may you be free of gallbladder issues, may you be free of hypertension, may you be free of heart disease. Now you could throw that in there, that's fair game. You know, like the Aussies say, good on you, that's fair dinkum. Probably don't know that. The Aussies say that thing. I had Aussie students, and they were always going, fair dinkum, and I was like, bless you. I was like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. It means it's okay to do. Okay, I was like, why don't you just say it's okay to do? Anyway. So you're praying for them to be happy. And you're praying for them to be joyous. Remember, happy and joyous are consequences of compassion. They're not the source. They're consequences. And No matter what. Weak or strong, high, middle, or low. That's illness. That is referring to illness, condition of life, pain and suffering, broke down, disgusted, busted, not working. My body is unreliable. I can't trust my life anymore. It's out of control. Because I'm in a low place because I have not the capacity to climb out because I'm so messed up, I'm sick. And whether you're in that space or whether you're a king of health, may you be happy is the prayer. Because you know what? I mentioned before, I worked in the hospice. It is not realistic to believe that you can bring medicine to a hospice and cure people and that they will walk out and not die. And if your self-esteem is tied to it, you're going to be sorely disappointed. However, I've seen people lose a giggle just a few minutes before they lost their breath. How about that? I've seen people physically in person be happy before they died. I've seen people resolve something that's been on their mind and in their heart, buried deeper than deep goes, and to bring that out and to release it and to reconcile with that days or minutes or hours before they passed. And because of that, they were happy. So as long as there's breath in your body, you can be happy. It's possible. That's realistic. So my primary therapy is not to cure you. Never has, never was, never will be. All curing, reduction of symptoms of illness and wellness, lack of wellness and so on, okay, is incidental to the treatment. What is the treatment? Is the practical expression of loving kindness in the form of a dancing meditation, and our dance moves come from yoga. Wow, isn't that crazy? I know, it's crazy, but it works. If you understand it, not only will it work for you, it'll work for every one of you. You can take whatever you know, anything at all, apply these principles to it the next time you go to do it. Don't do a massage, do puja, then a massage, and then finish with another round of puja at the end, just to be sure. Do puja, massage, puja, and oh my God, you will see things happen in your massage practice that you could not even imagine. People will have experiences in your massage practice that are not on the chart, that are not in the book, and that are beyond an increase in range of motion. They'll get that too, but it'll be beyond. Why? Because you know what they're going to get? It's like the Rolling Stones. You're not going to get what you want. You're going to get what you need. And you might think you need one thing, but that's a want. The things you think you need are called wants. What you need is based on what you don't want to say. It's the truth you don't want to know. It's the word of wisdom that you can't utter inside your head because you know if you tell the truth about a certain thing, your head will explode. And so you don't tell the truth. You hide it. And you don't take responsibility because you've been led to believe in your life that you're not responsible. You're a victim of life. And you're a victim of your own bad nature. And you're a victim of your own lack of discipline. And you're a victim. And that's very, very different from you are God's seed. You are God's seed going somewhere to germinate. And because you're God's seed, you can germinate in any soil at any time, any place. And there is no place where this teaching is not appropriate. I've done this teaching in emergency room. I've done this teaching in ICU. I've done this teaching in hospice. And I've never gotten the impression from anyone present that something I was doing was not right. In fact, I've seen people lose their mind. I've seen doctors in ICU lose their mind because I started a prayer. And one guy told me, he says, you can't be, I was in there as a minister. See, by the way, as an ordained minister, I can go anywhere I want. You can't keep me out of an ICU. I can go. I don't care what your mask policy is. You can have federal marshals try and remove me, and they won't do it. Because as a minister, if I'm your minister, I have a right to be with you when you draw your last breath. I have a right as a Catholic minister to give you last rites. And there is no ordinance, mandate, rule in the country that can keep me from having that privilege, or keep you from having me with you to hold your hand when you die. Not possible. And so I've done it. And what did I do? See, it's not like in the movies. What did I do? I did the Meta Sutra and the Lord's Prayer, because I'm schizo. I did the Meta Sutra and the Lord's Prayer and some airy-fairy New Age stuff, probably, on top of that. And yes, I had a crystal in my pocket. And yes, I had a sage bundle in my other pocket. Yes. Okay? But so what? I'm not afraid to treat you in an ICU. I'm not afraid to treat you on a mat. I'm not afraid to address your real issues. Even if it kills you, even if it kills me. So what? What else do we have to do here? Puja is about getting real. Puja is about getting to fundamentals of energy, of spirit, of consciousness, of tying all these things together at the same place with physicality. See, I am physically interfering with you. I've got my hand on you. I'm in your space. And then the session, the treatment, the protocol that follows is an extension of my puja. And because that's what it is, it's different. And if you don't do puja, you're not doing what I'm talking about. You're doing something else. You're making it up. Because we believe, the original members of our community, believe that the only reason we're here today to tell you this story is because for 1,000 years this is what we've been doing. No other reason. We've been through wars, we've been through famines, we've been through epidemics, we've been through invasions, we've been through military coups, we've been through 900 years school in the same location. We've been through some stuff. We've had marauding armies, bandits, we've had weather, we've had tornadoes, we've had little thing you can imagine over 1,000 years has happened to our school. And yet we're still here. And I'm telling you, as best I can, that this is golden. If you don't walk away from this class with anything else functionally than a clear way, an idea of how you can practice puja and integrate it into whatever healing work you already know, then I will give you a certificate and I will graduate you in good shape from this class. If you can't remember one single flow or one single posture, now if you're Noi, I'll yell at you for that. But if you're anybody else, I will just give you your certificate and I'll say you're good to go. Noi, I'm going to yell at. No slack. Because I know where she's from. And if I was at her parents' home or her grandparents' home, they would know me. And they would know who I am. And they would know what I'm up to. And they would say, tighten up. Grandpa would say, tighten up. He'd say it in Laos.
Of course.
But he'd say it. Right? Okay, God bless.
พกพินบินลับไปเมื่อมองสายชนถึงไหลรินยามเหงาเราถอนใจเมื่อมองดูสายน้ำวนบินไป